The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so honored to have back on the show ukulele virtuoso. He's known internationally. We've had him on the show before, Jake Shimabukuro. Jake, it's so good to have you in person.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Great
I mean,
to
it was
here.
fun talking with you about your past albums. We were talking about Grateful and your previous, And Friends album, which, a few of your close friends, Bette Midler, Warren Haynes. And then, once again, you're such a groundbreaking artist, Jake. Blues Experience. When I started listening to this, and just released in October, you kind of blew my mind with this. And you're working with could you find more famous people to work with? Mick Fleetwood?
Oh, I know, it's been a dream come true project. I mean, it started out, when Fleetwood Mac was doing their reunion tour. Actually, we were here in Nashville, so we got to go see their show.
Yeah.
And then after the show, we got to speak with, got to meet them backstage, and we were talking with Mick, and because we have that Hawaii connection.
Totally.
So my manager, kind of mentioned, he's like, hey Mick, maybe you and Jake should, do something together. And I'm looking at my manager like, no, don't. I'm like, oh my goodness, don't say that, But then, and then he was like, oh yeah, that would be fun. And then, so fast forward, a couple years later, I was doing a show in Maui where Mick's been a longtime resident.
Right.
So he was in town. He came out to the show.
Yeah.
And
did
then
he sit in and jam with your band?
No, he didn't. But backstage, we got to talk again, and then the idea of doing something together came up. And then a couple weeks later, we were in his studio recording this album.
How amazing, and you and I were talking too, Jake, before we started the interview, to where, so many artists have wanted to collaborate with you because you've taken the ukulele to places it hasn't been before, in my opinion. Just really opened the door and ears of people to hear what this instrument can do.
Thank you.
But also with you and Mick Fleetwood, and then you're recording in his studio.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, and once again, blowing my mind. I got to know what you did on this, Jake, to where you've got sound effects, you're using looper, delay, you got distortion on your ukulele.
So when we walked into Mick's studio, he had this beautiful Fender Princeton amp, and I had never played through. Usually I play through a twin reverb or something, but he had this Princeton. So I was like, hey, can I use this amp? So he's like, oh yeah, go ahead. So I plugged in my uke and kind of dialed in some of the tones and just found this really nice, sweet tone for the uke. And we ended up using that amp for the entire record. So, and it just worked out so great. It just paired perfectly with Mick's drums.
Well, and it was so funny, we were talking too, to where, Mick is such a flamboyant drummer and percussionist, and you are an entertainer also. So it's like, you guys did not sit still in studio then.
Oh, no. Normally when you think of the studio, you think of sitting there with the microphones and just playing, trying to be so precise. We were just moving around, dancing. And, Mick is such a great, when he plays, he's so in the moment.
Right.
So he's making eye contact with you, and he's playing off of you. So it's so much fun. He's so engaging. And I told people he's like a point guard on a basketball team. He just elevates everyone around him. When you play, and it was so inspiring. We just had such a blast. We couldn't believe we were in there with him. And it was so it was a 4-piece band. Everything was recorded live. I had my buddy Jackson Waldhoff on electric bass, who's on tour with me now.
Sounds incredible.
And then our buddy Michael Grande on keys.
Oh, and on the B3. I was talking about the B3, especially on a whiter shade of pale, where the B3 really shines. And so many of these, and even the songs that come in, with the piano and everything, it sounds like a live show. It's hard to say which song blew my mind more, Jake. I would say Still Got the Blues. Where you're taking a Gary Moore song and you're playing it on ukulele. You're bending the strings. I'm like going, I don't know, when I play ukulele, I do not sound like that.
No.
It's like I'm going, I hope I got this fingering right. And you were just destroying it because you're bending the strings, getting that distortion, but you can also hear the uke's tonality with the nylon strings. It has that warmth. But it's like you're merging that. Rockin' in the Free World, Neil Young.
I know, you wouldn't think of, some of these songs, played on this instrument. And I didn't either. That's the beauty of it. I think Mick Fleetwood, he really encouraged me to get out of my comfort zone. Yeah. And he pushed me, to just experiment, have fun, do different things. And, that's why, I had so much fun with the wah pedal.
I could totally hear that. And I'm and I had to go back and listen to the song again. I'm going, I think that's a wah pedal that Jake's going through right now, and you confirmed it.
Yeah, so just like things like that, and then there was this there's this other sound like on we did it in Rolling and Tumbling and one of the other tunes, but it's this idea of like the rolling and tumbling idea. So I kind of had this thing where I would feed this long delay pattern into a looper, and I would do a short time looper, and then record where it can stack over each other. So then you start like playing all these different layers and they start stacking, but then because of the loop, it creates like this feeling of this rolling and tumbling feeling, and that's how we kind of, and so I really got, I never experimented that much with, those kinds of sounds and I guess effects before, but Mick was so open to anything, because there's nothing that you can do that he's going to be like, that's too much, I mean, because everything that he plays, it just I don't know, he just makes everything work.
Well, and I mean, it sounds so fabulous because, and once again, I don't want to embarrass you, but you've been called the Jimi Hendrix of ukulele.
Oh.
And I was thinking with the delay and with the looping and everything, it's almost now like you're like the Ed Sheeran of ukulele.
Oh, man.
It's like going, all the sounds you're bringing out of the instrument, how did you and Mick pick the songs? Because at first, when I got everything sent over to bring you on the show, I'm like going, I think they sent me the wrong material. Blues Experience with Jake, but then you listen to it, it's like, this is meant to be.
Well, thank
but
you
how
for
did you guys
saying
pick
that.
the songs to
Yeah,
bring
it
in?
was just a collaborative, effort. We just threw ideas out on the table, and like certain things, like I remember Whiter Shade of Pale. That was Mick's idea, because we were talking with him, and we had just gotten back from our UK tour, and so Mick said, have you ever played Whiter Shade of Pale when you're in the UK? And I said, no, I haven't. He said, you should play that song. That's a great tune. They would love it up there. And and he said he always wanted to record that, and that's how that ended up on the record.
Wow.
The song "Cause We've Ended as Lovers,"
Yes.
it's old Jeff Beck classic.
The opening song.
So I used to play that with Sonny Landreth when we used to play together.
Right.
And then, so actually Sonny's on there too. He makes a special
I know I was
going to
bring that up to where you have another,
Yeah.
besides, as if you and Mick were not enough, then you bring in Sonny also.
Oh yeah, to hear Sonny and Mick together was like, that was a dream come true. But that one, we were talking about Jeff Beck, and Mick has all these great stories, because like with all these songs and these artists, he's lived. He like paved the way, for some of these guys.
Back to the Peter Green era.
Yeah, with even he started out with. With Peter Green, the early Fleetwood Mac stuff, and that's why we have a Peter Green tribute on there. And then we also did kind of a later Fleetwood Mac tribute for Christine McVie,
which I thought was so powerful.
Yeah, that was
with Songbird. And once again, Jake, you're one of those artists to me, which I've enjoyed all your work over the years, and I followed you since you exploded in 2006. With my Guitar Gently Weeps. When that went viral, and it's like that's when I was like going, wow. But it's like, you're able to still bring in the finesse, and you play to the song. And I think with Songbird especially, you really did that.
Oh, that was a special recording. I just remember when we went into the studio to record that, Mick, obviously it was a tribute to Christine, and she had just passed, and and it was so heavy. I just remember that day in the studio was just very heavy, and we all kind of got ready. And then Mick just started playing this groove on the toms, and then, and he just kind of transported us, and I remember coming in with the melody. I did like this tremolo melody thing.
It's like it
just
floats.
Very sparse, just
it
very
feels like
floaty.
A songbird. When you're listening to it, and once again, on these songs, when I was going back and listening to your whole entire album, it's like, on that song, it's like, I felt like it audibly sounded like a bird flying.
Yeah, when we finished that song and he played his last hit on the toms, he looked at, there was this moment of silence, and then he opened his eyes, and then he told us he felt Christine's presence in the studio with us, and that was like, wow, that was so.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well, especially on the spoken word version of the song also, which is available on digital only.
And that's the thing, like when we started, we weren't planning on doing any kind of spoken word thing, and so when we did it, he started the intro, and then where I came in, I just felt like coming in there. But then when he went back and he had the idea to recite the lyrics, the amount of space from when he starts the drums to when I start the melody was the perfect amount of space.
It was.
For his.
It was like it was meant to be.
That was, yeah, it was amazing. We didn't edit that. I mean, that was it. It was like, wow.
How amazing. And once again, with the name of the album, Blues Experience, you know, listening to the album and listening to your playing, and I've always enjoyed your albums and your songs and your song choices, but it's like, you know, other than the spoken word, the songs really don't need vocals. You know, you're doing such an incredible job, Jacob, filling in those melody lines with the ukulele, and so it's just, it kind of transports you. That's why I'm so glad that you guys are bringing this out on vinyl.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we were giving it a listen, you know, when it came out, and just the sound. I mean, there's nothing like listening to it, you know, listening to an album on vinyl.
The whole experience.
You know, even with the little noise and the little pops and all that, but there's just something about it that's so warm and engaging, and just makes you wanna listen. You know, makes you. I mean, even just. For some reason, whenever I listen to vinyl, like I'll just stare, and then you just see the record spinning. But there's just something about it that's so hypnotic.
There is.
Yeah, and just draws you.
And plus,
in.
you know, with the cover artwork and everything like that, and I mean, it's just, you know, it's engaging. It's tactile and audible. You know, and being able to listen. I can't wait to listen to it on vinyl, because I just had to listen to it on digital. A couple times.
Vinyl's coming, you know, it's getting really popular again, you know. And
you're going to have this on tour too, right?
Oh yeah. We have it available when we're on tour, on our website, you know, all over. But we have, I joke around, like when I've been saying that, yeah, we're releasing a vinyl now, but you know, maybe in a couple months we're going to start having to release it in cassette tape and 8-track.
Yeah. Exactly, because I remember those days when my parents still had the 8 tracks, and there's certain songs I hear it to where it dips.
Oh,
you know, because the 8-track would change. But I mean, but it sounds so great. And you know, that's the thing too, Jake, you know, with your career, starting out playing ukulele at only 4 years old, and your mom being your first teacher, and then studying more, and certainly, like you and I were talking before, where some viewers may not realize this, but you know, you signed on with Sony Japan. You know, you were huge over there, and you've been in multiple bands through the years, but also now your solo career has just exploded internationally.
Yeah, no, I've been very fortunate, like you said. I mean, you mentioned in 2006 when that video went viral. You know, Mac McAnally and Jimmy Buffett were, you know, they saw that video, and since 2006, you know, they invited me out on the road with them, and I was like a Corey for band member, you know, traveling the world with them.
And Mac is so much fun.
Yeah, and the two of them really took me under their wing and introduced me to so many people. You know, you mentioned like Bette Midler, and I mean, you know,
and Tommy Emmanuel that you were out on the road with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. They introduced me to so many people in the industry, so many musicians, and you know, and I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for their support.
Well, definitely, and also your incredible talent. I would be remiss if I did not bring up your beautiful signature model ukulele, also that has your name inlaid in the fretboard. Oh yeah. And I mean, you know, great handmade instruments. And I know that, is this what you used in studio also? I know you use them on tour.
Yeah, I use it for everything. I mean, this is a Kamaka ukulele. They recently started doing a signature line for me. It's called the Kamaka Blue.
I think that is incredible.
And yeah, they're absolutely beautiful. But I'm so honored, you know, to play their instruments, because you know, they were truly the inventors of the modern day ukulele. I mean, we wouldn't have ukuleles today if it weren't for them.
Well, you know, I think that great thing with you also, Jake, is that, you know, you're introducing it to so many people. If you look at how the ukulele now has exploded again, you know, with young people, with songwriters, and I think in part that's with you, you know, showcasing the instrument and showing what the instrument's capable of now, especially in this new album.
Oh, well,
but the only problem is, like, with going out on tour with your band, and you're selling out shows everywhere you go, Jake, but now with the new album, how do you decide what songs to add in and what songs to leave behind? Because you have hits through all your albums over the years.
Oh, thank you.
So how are you going to choose? And plus, you're going to need more guitar pedals.
Yeah.
and maybe another Fender amp.
Yes, I think so. You can never have enough amps.
Never.
But yeah, we have been doing like 5 songs off the new record, and you know, Mick Fleetwood's not out with us, but
he
Jackson,
could be when you get back into the same cities sometimes.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
You have a few friends, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, the album before last said so.
Yeah.
So it's proven.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Well, you know, I mean, the going back to the ukulele, when my mom introduced me to the ukulele when I was 4, I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I think that it would lead to all of this, you know. I mean, I just love playing. I just love sitting there and strumming basic chords. And never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be, you know, having these projects, being able to meet these incredible, you know, friends and musicians. I mean, it's opened so many doors for me, and so I'm just so grateful, you know. But music is like that. I think music and the arts, you know, just brings people together and gives you a sense of community, and I'm so grateful for that.
Well, and also you've got books out, you've got DVDs out. I think you may, you know, in your spare time, you're gonna have to do some more tutorials, maybe another book. I think there should be a documentary on this album.
Oh,
and also the evolution of what you've done with the ukulele as an instrument, because it's inspiring. When I was listening to this album, you know, last night, preparing to have you in studio, it's like it really inspires you to hear somebody push the envelope of an instrument in a different way.
Oh, thank you.
And you constantly do that, Jake.
Thank you. Well, you know, one of my biggest heroes too was always Bela Fleck. You know?
My gosh!
And I just loved what he did for the banjo. But how he also, you know, he also honors the lineage of that instrument, you know, with that project. He went back to Africa, right? The roots of the banjo. And so, like, for me, it's always, I always realize the importance of, you know, even with the ukulele, even though I'm trying to do different things with it and maybe push the envelope of it, you know, it's so important to always recognize, you know, all the people who paved the way. I mean, I grew up listening to people like, you know, Eddie Kamai and Ota-san, you know, Roy Sakuma, Peter Moon, Israel Kamaka Vivo Ole.
Legends.
I mean, these were all the legends that I grew up listening to. And, you know, you can even trace back and to me, like, go back as far as, like, even Joseph Kekuku, you know,
totally.
Uncle Joseph, who invented the slide and the Hawaiian lap steel guitar. I mean, that's what kind of, if you think about it, that kind of, you know, influence what this music became too, you know. So
set the stage.
That's why, like, Sonny Landreth on there, you know, it means so much, because for me, that's such a great shout out, you know, to the old, to Joseph Kekuku and all those Hawaiian musicians.
I just love it that you're able to keep the history, but also make it modern and fresh. And I think this album, it's going to be an award winner. And I think that so many people are going to be attached to this, and you're going to, once again, find another new audience, which you keep doing. Because you know, with you and Mick Fleetwood working together, you're not resting on your laurels. But I want to make sure that our viewers, Jake, know where to go for your website, social media, to get the vinyl, to come see you live in concert, on tour, and you're already planning an international tour in 2025.
Yeah.
Where do viewers need to go?
I'm excited. You know, so my website is jakeshimabukuro.com. All of our stuff are all on the digital platforms, and but yeah, just. Thank you so much for your support, and yeah, I'm believe me, I'm still blown away from this project. Like, I still can't believe that, you know, Mick agreed to do this. It was so generous of him to do this and to support us, and I tell you, man, he sounds incredible on this record. When
your
you
band
hear
members, you and Mick?
his fills, his playing, his energy, it's unbelievable. Man, it's like he's a 20-year-old still playing.
You guys sound so powerful together. And once again, you know, the album is out now, Blues Experience. You can get it on vinyl, you can get it on CD, also on digital. Check out the spoken word of Songbird also. Get the vinyl. Also, follow Jake to check out his ukulele, his signature model. Go see this guy live and see all the pedals and sounds. You're not going to believe, like I said, still got the blues. Close your eyes. It's going to blow your mind as much as it did me. Jake Shimabukuro, so good to have you on.
Thank you so much for always supporting, man. All that
Blues Experience, get the album.
All right. Aloha.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.